Yeah. Bleeding here. Hey, we got us a first today. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you in a second. One. Oh, no. Give me two. Give me a perfect album side. Sound good? That's what I was thinking. On the what? On the what? Okay, there you go. Heart, soul, rock and roll, Bleeding Ear, Northeast Georgia's local music show. The first that I was talking about, Brad Mercer, a.k.a. Radical Bradford, my old partner from 96 Rock and KKDJ, Rock 105. I've known Brad the better part of my lifetime. He's the first guest on the Bleeding Ear that has been on back-to-back weeks. Brad, congratulations.
Hey, you know, I'm really honored.
Well,
I really am. I've been in the studio all night.
Really?
Yeah, just haven't been to bed yet.
Okay, well, the plaque's in the mail, so keep an eye out for it.
Okay.
Now, we've got, this is a pretty good story today, but before we get to that, you know, I've kind of talked to you over the course of a lifetime about the whole tribute band thing.
Right.
And I remember you telling me that it was huge out in California. Real big out there, right? And we were still at the point where, you know, it was kind of getting some traction here. Well, now it's really taken off here as well. And there's just some amazing bands, some amazing tribute bands. One in particular coming up, well, we had Interstellar Echoes, the Pink Floyd tribute Friday night or over the weekend at Boot Barn Hall. There's another band called Chi-Town Transit Authority. I mean, they flat nail Chicago. But,
right.
You know, I've kind of talked to you about, have you ever thought about doing the tribute band thing? And I know you've got your own band called The Profile. But you're very good. I'm not going to talk about this song specifically, but there's one particular act that I think if you ever decided to do the tribute band thing, you could flat nail. Do you know who I'm thinking about?
Well, I, off the top of my head, I would say Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond, absolutely. And you did the Vegas thing, right?
Right.
You had that whole big band, and you were wearing the jumpsuits and all that kind of stuff. You know, a very Vegas-like show band. But you can flat nail Neil Diamond.
Well, it's a funny story there. If you got a second, is that the time I was in Vegas, I was there for 2 weeks playing the Riviera with John Drace Orchestra. That's like a 30-piece orchestra plus my band, and I had met Neil about, maybe a month before I got to Vegas. And we were both in the recording studio at Cherokee in Los Angeles recording our albums. He was in Studio A, I was in Studio B. Joe Cocker was in Studio C trying to get a vocal, and they couldn't get one because he kept throwing up.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another story. But Neil and I met in the men's room. At the studio, and said, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm doing fine.
No, don't shake my hand.
Yeah, yeah. And we just talked like one musician to another. He says, I'm doing September More next story, and I said, "Yeah, I'm cutting my third album here." He says, "Well, listen, I'll come by and check you out here." Well, he'd come in and check me out. I'd go in, check them out, and one thing led to another. He said, "I'm going to be in Vegas at the Aladdin." And I said, "Well, I'll be at the Riviera." And lo and behold, when I opened, he and Wayne Newton and a couple other people were in the audience.
Oh.
And he caught the show. And I had done, I think, 3 Neil Diamond songs. I opened with one, and then I closed with Brother Love's Travel and Salvation Show with the flash pots and all that crap,
Uh-huh.
And he came backstage and he says, "I got to say this." He says, "You do me better than I do."
Ooh, yeah, because you can sing. And I've noticed that Neil kind of talks his way through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's a style, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I love Neil Diamond, don't get me wrong. But,
right, no, I understand.
You could be you're probably making good money now, but these tribute bands and the money they make,
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's like anything else. It's like when you get a hit or several hits when you're younger, and then you're out on tour and you're doing that grueling tour schedule. Mm-hmm. It weighs on you, and the older you get, the more it weighs on you. And I've got to look at that scenario too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And but I feel great. I do.
I feel good.
I feel good.
There you go, James Brown tribute. The White James Brown. There's another great tribute band that hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, my wife actually met him.
I wish I'd have met James Brown.
Oh, me too.
Boy, that old James Brown stuff, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, he was amazing, man. All right. He was.
We're talking to Brad Mercer, a.k.a. Radical Bradford. The reason you're back today, you sent me a song. I don't want to give the story away because I want you to tell the story. But you flat nailed another, I guess I wouldn't call this an impression, right? Tell me the backstory on the song we're about to play.
Okay, well, first of all, you got to understand that when I got my first guitar, I was 5 years old. And the guy I was listening to all the time, there were two people. It was Elvis and Johnny Cash. Mm-hmm. And I really liked that. I can't remember. I think it was his second album, and it had "Don't Take Your Guns to Town." And then there was "I Walk the Line," and "I've Got Jesus," and "That's Enough." And I'm saying, God, man, I want to sing like Johnny Cash. So I just, but when you're five, your voice is like, really out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, but as I grew older, it just kind of fell into it. And when I was on the road with my band, I would do a Johnny Cash medley and fall right into his voice. Mm-hmm. And one thing led to another. And so years later, when I signed with my manager, who happened to be probably one of the finest screenwriters and directors now in the movie industry, he followed me for 10 years, and he liked my impressions. And so we're now, fast forward, we're doing a movie now with Kevin Sorbo. Kevin is not only acting in it, but he's also directing it. It's called A Stranger's Path. And it's a family-friendly drama comedy. Mm-hmm. With kind of an inspirational message. Kevin, he's in that kind of a genre. Though there's a serious thread line running through the main story. I'll give you a little idea. Local police try to solve this murder of the local pastor, who is he's played by the guy that drives the Ferrari. What's his name?
The guy that drives the Ferrari. Give me another clue. Give me another clue. Tom Selleck.
There you go.
Thank you. Wow, I got it. What do I win?
Boy, that's good. Hey, Chris, listen, you've won a brand new... No. Anyway, he's the local pastor. Okay. He gets murdered, and it's an ensemble. He doesn't have a long part, but it's good.
Okay.
It's an ensemble, character-driven, which is where the comedy aspect surface. And the twist ending, Sorbo hopes to leave viewers surprised. And that's just Kevin. And hopeful about their own lives. And the official cast is Kevin Sorbo, Naomi Watts, Susan George.
Ooh, I like her.
Yes.
She was in Mandingo, wasn't she?
Yes, she was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Jack Hudson.
Oh, boy.
Meg Ryan. Mm-hmm. Sally Kirkland.
That's a big cast.
Tracy Brooks Swope. Mm-hmm. Rebecca Holden. And then we get to Bonnie Gibson Klein. James Spader.
James Spader is in the movie?
James Spader plays this guy. He'll...
That's a big name right there.
Yeah, he plays a crooked banker.
Okay.
Vince Gill. Amy Grant.
Wait a minute. Usually when you've got that many people in a movie, the movie suffers because your budget has been spent on the actors.
We got good budget.
Okay, all right, just checking.
Yeah, Lionsgate is coming out of the gate like that.
All right.
Good executive producers. We've got Amy Grant and a special cameo by Gary Sinise.
Okay.
So that gives you an idea where it's going.
Is this a movie that we're going to be able to see in a theater? Is it coming on television?
Yes. No, released in the theater first.
Theatrical release. Okay.
Right, theatrical release. And then, of course, it goes to streaming. But that's just the way things go now these days.
Okay.
But it's okay. If the movie does well in the box office, well, obviously, my label is going to pressure me to do more songs. They're going to release the song from.
So wait a minute. So you've got a couple of songs in this movie?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I've got. Obviously, "I'm Coming Home" is going to be the credit roll at the end of the film.
Okay.
Now, the song you're going to play, as we're getting to this Johnny Cash song, it's a cover because we knew that our budget could never afford the $150,000 to license the track.
Well, plus you spent all that money on these actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another $25,000 for performance rights to Cash.
Oh.
See?
That much to have a Johnny Cash song in the movie?
Yeah, but it's also U2. It's U2 and Johnny Cash.
Okay.
It's called The Wanderer. Now, rather than us hire some, session people to cover the song, according to, my manager, he's a real big fan of my impressions, so it actually made sense for me to do it. And
so
I'm affordable.
You've been asked to do the cover of the Johnny Cash song that's going to be used in this movie,
right?
And hang on, how much did you charge him?
I'm not going to say that.
Okay,
but but I could buy my other house now.
Oh, that's so nice, and you can retire.
Well, I've already done that,
and then you don't have to do the Neil Diamond tribute.
There you go.
Story has a happy ending.
Look, Chris, to me, it's really not about the money. I love doing what I'm doing, and it's great to have the money when you can do that. And it just makes sense. I could do a final slick mix on it and make some dollars as a player on the track. And it's also not bad publicity. And, depending on the success of the film, it becomes a great opportunity for me as Brad Mercer.
Yeah. And when is this movie coming out? Do we know?
We're right now we've got everything ready to go to start shooting it. We were going to do it in Peru, California, but it was wiped out in the fires.
Oh, jeez.
And so there was talk of us going to Canada to shoot, but we found this great place up towards Santa Barbara, where they're building the sets right now. And we go into production the end of March, 1st of April. And this should be out summer.
Okay, of next year or this year?
This year.
Well, let's do this. When the movie is about to come out, come back on. We'll chat it up and let people know where they can go see it, and then we can promote the movie for you.
Absolutely. No, I'll even get the director and
okay. So
possibly the writer.
Yeah, that'd be great. So the song we're going to play, is this a U2 song? Is it a Johnny Cash song? What is it?
Okay. Yeah, actually, it's a U2 song. And if you go on YouTube and you punch in U2, The Wanderer, featuring Johnny Cash, you'll hear their version.
Right.
When you hear my version, I've got to tell you this much. I was impressed.
All right. And this is not karaoke, because this is you as Johnny Cash, and the music tracks are your tracks, right?
Right. I played the guitar. I played, the only thing I didn't do is the percussion, which was done by the engineer that recorded me. And I did the keyboards all the vocals, and the guitar work.
Okay.
And
well, let's get to it.
Yeah, we wanted to copy it as close as possible.
Okay. All right. Well, Brad, thank you for coming back on, being the only guest that's been on the Bleeding Ear 2 weeks in a row. Plaque is in the mail. And this is Radical Bradford, okay. Brad Mercer. One more thing. Go ahead.
No, just one more thing. If you want to check out what movies I'm doing, go to desertcamstudios.com.
Okay.
Or you can go to theprofileband.com.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that, Brad, and thank you for coming back on 2 weeks in a row.
My pleasure. Thanks, Chris. You take care of yourself.
All right, folks, listen up. This is Brad Mercer as Johnny Cash. It's called The Wanderer.
Streets paved with gold, lifted some stones, saw the skin and bones of a city without a soul. I went out walking under an atomic sky, where the ground won't turn and the rain it burns like the tears when I said goodbye. Nothing but the thought of you. I went wandering. I went drifting through the capitals of tin, where men can't walk or freely talk, and sons turn their fathers in. I stopped outside a church house where the citizens like to sit. They say they want the kingdom, but they don't want God in it. I went out riding down that old 8-lane. I passed by 1,000 signs looking for my own name. I went with nothing but the thought you'd be there too, looking for you. Search of experience, to taste and to touch and to feel as much as a man can before he repents. I went out searching, looking for one good man, a spirit who would not bend or break, who would sit at his Father's right hand. I went out walking with a Bible and a gun. The Word of God lay heavy on my heart. I was sure I was the one. Now Jesus, don't you wait up. Jesus, I'll be home soon. Yeah, I went out for the papers, told her I'd be back by noon. Yeah, I left with nothing but the thought you'd be there too, looking for you. Nothing but the thought of you. I went wandering.
Heart, soul, and rock and roll. 107.1 WJBB. That's Brad Mercer, a.k.a. Radical Bradford, with The Wanderer. And we'll have Brad back on when we get closer to that theatrical release.